Yeah.
So, first and foremost, we like to give more praises to Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Kakwad. The blood of some persons and others, and the son citation to the benefit of this work into the society. Because the focus of time earth, so a couple of brothers recite. So, from the camp, we do a quick short lesson. Right, basically, it's about financial impairment, right? Because no man in truth should really be underneath that financial demon continuously, all right? Because the knowledge of management, right, is in the scriptures. Okay, the scripture said, if you have been faithful, you can get that from a Bible picture, because you're faithful in little, you'll be what? You'll get many when the Lord He distributed talents. Alright? Now one of the things you have to do is put aside that pride, right? If you see a brother that has the ability or the talent to manage, try and seek that knowledge from him. You understand? Right? And don't abhor him, right? Because that's pride. You know? And pride is hateful before God and man. Go ahead.
The book of Luke 19 and verses 17, it says, and he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities.
Yeah, because thou hast been faithful for little, right? The little that we have right now, we should manage, because what, you have families, a lot of brothers have families, you have wives, you have single brothers, the Lord bless them, right? And you have brothers with wives and children, right? So what you have to be able to manage, because you won't what the scripture says is an abomination for you not to prepare for your family. Basically, you're worse than an infidel. That's what the scripture says. Right? He that doesn't prepare for his family is worse than an infidel. So you have to be able, as the time especially going harder and harder, you know, say maybe I think it's Psalm 37. Give me yours in the meantime.
1 Timothy 5 and verse 8. But if any provide not for his house, or for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he had denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
The Lord also said charity begins at home and then ends abroad. Right? Yeah, if you can't rule in your own house, if you can't manage in your own house, how could you manage the church of the Most High? Because this church now, this management skill is going to go into the kingdom of heaven. Right? Managing the kingdom of heaven. Right? I think it's Psalms 37 and the last verse speaks about you never see the righteous begging, no his seed begging bread. Right?
Sirach chapter 14 and verse 3. Riches are not commonly for a niggard.
For what?
For a niggard.
Right, riches are not commonly for a niggard. In another version, I would say for a fool. Right? Riches are not commonly for a fool. None of us who here fighting for righteousness' sake, fighting in the name of Yahweh are considered fools. Alright? Wisdom, knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, or stability of thy time. Alright? Well,
and what should an envious man do with money?
And what should an envious man do with money? Alright? So you can say, envy not the oppressor or choosing of his ways. You have Jake watching and being caught up with the what? The lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. When you get money, you do things that are not profitable to the body, to the church, for it to yourself. Alright? One of the things you have our forefathers, Abraham, when he did, he gave 1/10 of all to Melchizedek, of all his earnings. Give back. At the end of the day, it's not by your strength or your might you went out there to earn it, it's by the spirit and power of Yahweh. Alright? That was it there?
And verse 4. He that guarded by defrauding his own soul, guarded for others.
He guarded for others. Because he did exactly what it says. You defraud your own soul. So guess what? The tax man gonna come in, this bill, that bill, that bill. You know, I saw that a skit, a local comedian, right? He said, boy, he had to honor your parents now, he had to appreciate your parents now, because one thing he didn't know about when becoming an adult and going out into the real world is that man called Bills. Bills coming and taking all his money. Right? You don't understand what bills mean. So the other man there is what? The tax bills, right? You should just say, well, they that earn wages supposed to large people. But we have a scripture to back that up. Well,
that shall spend his good righteously.
Righteously. Right? Like in a riot, in an uproar. right? You know, take you have people who live in YOLO today for today, right? You get a little back pain now when you want to buy Hennessy for the whole hood and all of we partying. That's a riot. That's being righteously, right? But
he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good?
yeah, why are you being evil to yourself? Because you're not moving with knowledge. You're not moving with the understanding of Yahweh Shai, right? Scripture talk about being content. If you really examine and slow down and read the scriptures, right? If cattle and all these things was wealth, guess what? They wasn't killing out their cattle and eating their meat every day, right? They was eating their meat. You had a discipline. The scripture even says so. Teeth have a cheerful mind, which is what that shoulder and that sickness will take care of his meat and his diet. So if you're spending money on food, you know, you watch that shit. You understand? If you're spending money on things unnecessarily in the earth that basically not going to bring or build to this true the brotherhood, because the brotherhood is important. You know? You should just say, look not upon your own goods, but look upon another's. We're going to bring that out. So go ahead.
Finish it up. He shall not take pleasure in his goods.
He shall not take pleasure in his goods. And it's a righteous thing to take pleasure in his goods. Alright? Let's try you can go ahead and read.
The book of Psalms chapter 37 and verses 25. It said, I have been young and now I am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread.
Good, and not yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. You understand? So there's a knowledge, there's a wisdom of balance, right? Of temperance when it concerns finances. Okay? You just have to seek it out and you have to do the things spiritual. Alright? You get money, give back, give your alms, give your tithes, right? Put to the treasury, seek who needs, be selfless, look up that actually own goods. Look up the next month.
So the Sirach chapter 4 and verse 17. For the first, she will walk with him by crooked ways.
But this is wisdom, right? So basically we're talking about the wisdom of handling finances. Okay? Because there's a financial demon amongst the camps. Right? Brothers still can't balance and manage money, manage affairs. Okay? So your house suffering, your church suffering. You can't help a brother. Right? Because situations gonna come up, you might have an emergency. Right? But you don't have an emergency fund. You have to take it dip out of. Sometimes your treasury bare because white men not contributing. You understand? Go ahead.
And bring fear and dread upon him.
Right, so because they're being tried by the discipline, they're being fear and dread. We'll go my son, my child, right? They're getting some kind of accident, some kind of thing that I need to buy medicine, I need to buy something, right? I need to do something, I need to travel somewhere, right? But I can't do it because what? I have nothing in reserve, right? The well's dry, okay? That's you being tried by hypocritical ways. This scripture goes, it applies throughout any form of wisdom that has to be extrapolated onto the scriptures. Go ahead.
And torment him and his discipline.
Right. When the torment comes, is you going in that lesson over and over and over again. The Lord have you going through that same situation over and over and over again because you have not learned the lesson. When you learn the lesson, basically you're stuck. You're not going to be tormented anymore. Go ahead.
Until she may trust his soul and try him by her laws.
And try him by her laws. Hey, it's a law, you know, because you go in Christianity, I was a Pentecostal. It wasn't a law, you know, I brace a Pentecostal pastor. So wait now, all they do, because he heard that I keep the Sabbath. So let's keep the Sabbath. So what about the blood of Christ? Right? So what about you keeping, if you done away with the laws, right? What about why you keeping tithes? That is not a law. Tithes is not a law. Abraham did that and it's just an act of righteousness. No, it was a law. It was a law. Okay?
Have a law that tell you about you know, giving when your brother down and thing. And he's not going to do it already quick here. In Deuteronomy chapter 15, I started with 7. Now if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates, in thy land which the Lord Yahweh shall thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thy hand from thy poor brother. But thou shall open thy hand wide unto him, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanted. Because that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is at hand, and thy eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord Yahweh against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. Thou shalt surely give him, and thy heart shall not grieve when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord Yahweh thy power shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thy hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land.
The Lord said that to the scribes and Pharisees, right? He said the poor you will always have. He said that to Judas, right? When the woman came with the oil in the alabaster box. He said that oil could have been sold for money and put into the treasury. He said the poor you will always have. I think that's when that story right? The poor you will always have. So we have brothers that are going to be less off. But guess what? You're supposed to be in a position to always extend that hand to help. Right? Extend that hand to help, to pull, to lift up. Not for him to pull you down. Right? Not to pull you down. Yeah, what? Back on task, back on?
Can.
This is the book of Philippians chapter 2 and verses 4. It says, look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others.
The Lord said, well, it's more blessed to give than to receive. Right? So if you always receive, and when could you bless? Right? If you always receive, and when can you bless? Right? But if you prepare yourself from before, right? That when you receive, right, you can always give back. Guess what? The blessings will flow, and it will be a circuit of blessings, right, for you and for your brother. Right? You can give me a Sirach 18:25, Baba Kusha.
Sirach chapter 18 and verse 25. It says, when thou hast enough, boy, remember the time of hunger.
Remember the time of hunger. Alright? So remember when it was low, when the Lord, because you're hungry, when you're humble, the Lord is humble you. Alright? Remember when you're humble. Alright? So when you get that change, you know you study about, oh, I had this to do, I had that to do. No. Remember all them brothers that was helping you in the time where you're lowness. Right? Give back, put back in arms. Because it's the arms will help you. Right? Put back. Give to the treasury, give to the apostles. Alright? And Paul said that. Paul said when I come to visit, everything was already in order, right? You didn't have to scamper for anything, roughly paraphrase it, you know? Everything was in order, things was prepared because the treasury was full basically. Right? Go ahead.
And when thou art rich, think upon poverty and need.
Right? When thou art rich, think about poverty and need. And how are you thinking about poverty and need? By putting back into the treasury. Alright? You're doing it for your own good. You're doing it because of the knowledge, of the sense. This is the common sense. You know, you have a common denominator, which means same. Right? When you're doing fractions, you have a common denominator, you have the same denominator. Then you can add, subtract, divide, or multiply the fractions. Okay? The Lord said, God, give back 1/10. Give back 1/10. Right? Abraham gave alms of all that he had. No?
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 9 to 10. Honor the Lord Yahweh with thy substance and with the first fruit of all thy increase.
Honor the Lord with thy substance and the first fruit of thy increase. And the Lord don't require like a blemish offering. Okay? He don't require something blemish. He requires the best, the first fruits. But
so shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy press shall burst out with new wine.
So shall thy barns be so much. Before you even spend your check, give to the Lord. Before you even spend your check, put in the arms. You know? Then you'll start to see a way, because this is you being tried by her laws. Right? Abundance will eventually come. It's not going to work like magic, Because faith is something that has to be gradually built. A brother did a Yapa lesson. The temple was built over a process of time. It takes time to build a temple. Alright? It takes time to build faith. And you go through these situations to build your faith. Right? These situations that you go through is either to make you or break you. Alright? You're going to continue to go over the same lesson until you learn it. Alright? That is us being exercised in faith. So watch. Time to get strong. Alright?
This is the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 17. It says, but whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of power in him?
How dwelleth the love of God in him? The love of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in him. And the love of the Lord is what keep his commandments, as we all know. 1 John 5 and 3, 2 John 2 and 6. Right? How dwelleth the love of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua in him? Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is a power of knowledge. Right? There's a knowledge toward finances. There's a knowledge to management. You understand? And it starts with charity. It starts with that agape.
1 Timothy 6 and verses 17, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded.
Be not high-minded. Don't get proud as soon as you get a little change. Right? As soon as you get a little change, you know, a brother might come across a little piece of money, you might cash in or something. Right? And they say, well, I want to do this, that, and then they'll give the apostles and the brother something. Nah, it don't work so. Because they will lose everything. They will lose everything. The Lord will bring him back down to our humility. The Lord said what he's going to abase the proud and exalt the lowly. Alright, go ahead.
Not trust in uncertain riches.
Not trust in uncertain riches.
But in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy.
But in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, who giveth us all things to enjoy. Go ahead.
It says that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate.
Okay, line up Ecclesiastes 5:8 to 19. Right? I want to bring out a word here. This is discipline. Right? Discipline. An activity or exercise or regimen that improves a skill. Right? So if you have a discipline with money, you're going to what? Improve your skill. Right? You're going to improve your management skill. It says, discipline could also be punishments inflicted by way of correction and training. And this is what the Most High is doing you if you have that continuous, reoccurring punishment. You know, not having that money, being low, being down and out. You know, not being able to afford this or to afford that. Right? Not having a good condition or state. You see? Discipline also means to train by instruction and exercise drill. Right? So the Lord exercising it. This is the elect being exercised in faith. Right? But in order to get our muscles, you're going to have to learn from your mistakes. Einstein in the world say what? But insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
But ironic that you use that same muscle, but because in order for you to build your muscle, you put out to push yourself until you can't push no more and then rest, and then it will build. So you have to put in some kind of work, some kind of effort in order to build. But if you don't build and you just decide to just stand and do nothing won't build. No muscle will come, no extra strength, nothing. You just be flat. So you have to push.
The last definition, to bring to a state of order. So you're going, hey, having the knowledge of financial management is having order. And the Lord deals with order. As it is in heaven, so shall it be in earth. The Lord deals with management. Right? We are working for a crown. And that crown is not just to sit down in your house. To be the king over what? Your wives and your children. No. That crown is to manage over these heathens. Right? To manage a region where these heathen dwell. Okay? Right? You have the Ecclesiastes 5 and 18. And I want you to get that. So love 26 and 18 and 19.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verses 18 to 19. Behold, that which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat and to drink, and to enjoy the good of all his labor that he taketh under the sun.
Yeah, so under the sun is we're here on earth, right? So the Lord didn't want to see It's not that he's saying that he wants you to give back all to him, right? He wants you to have what? He is good. It is good for you to eat and drink and to enjoy where you slave for, where you labor for, right? Go ahead.
All the days of his life, which power giveth him. For it is his portion.
What is it? What?
His portion.
Uh-huh.
Every man also to whom power had given riches and wealth and had given him power to eat thereof.
So you gain your portion. The Lord making sure you taken care of. So give the Lord his portion. Give the Lord his. Give back. Set aside. Give him first. Go ahead.
And had given him power to eat thereof and to take his portion and to rejoice in his labor. This is the gift of Yahweh.
This is a gift of Yahweh. And hey, if you know that in James, he said what the Lord knows how to give what good gifts. You understand? Go ahead, we close with this one.
Roughly probably the Lord love our cheerful giver. Deliver 26 and
So 26 and 28.
Sirach chapter 26 and verse 28. There be two things that grieve my heart,
Two things that grieve the heart of the Most High. Go ahead.
and the third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by.
Oh, men of understanding are not set by. So you can't be in this truth with all this wealth, knowing that you are Israelite, that the kingdom of heaven is for you, that these heathens in shit, right? That this what they have here is temporal, but what we have to inherit is eternal and everlasting, right? And one simple little spirit, but I'm destroying you, that you're not set by. That's your negligence. That is your negligence. Alright? There's a balance and a temperance in the whole thing. The truth, there's understanding, right?
I'm going on. And men of understanding that are slack, and one that returned from righteousness to sin. The Lord Yahweh shall prepare such and one for the sword.
Prepare such and one for the sword. Right? To behoove you, right? To do the right things, pray and fast and seek out understanding.
One more here. Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 17. He that had pity upon the poor, lendeth unto the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai, and that which he had given will he pay him again.
You see?
That's a
Cycle. It's a cycle.
You give, the Lord will not pay you back.
This scripture says, seek ye first all these
The
the kingdom of heaven, right? The kingdom of heaven is within you. So it's knowledge, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all these things will be made unto you. You understand? So you have to be a part of the cycle. You can't be a stagnant or a weak link. You understand? It's a cycle. You have to be able to let it flow. Oh, what? When you think you're using the term of money, it's currency. Currency means what? Flow. You understand?
And the thing about Esau know the Lord and I like how he prospered in this world as well.
Yeah.
Because he know the great under a certain vibration as well. And he know that the rich can't be rich without the poor. That's why he love the poor so much. Because the poor is keeping him rich.
The rich man's wealth is his strong seat. The destruction of the poor is his poverty.
You understand? The merchant's gonna cry because why? The greatest consumers in Babylon, like that's Revelation 18, the merchant's gonna cry. Who's gonna buy the merchandise anymore? The greatest consumers is the poor. Who is the poor? Those who they advertise to. When they put the advertisement on the television, the news, on the billboards, who they advertise it to? Jake. You know, when they wanted the year after pass, who had the most nifty catchphrases and songs? Jake.
The biggest consumer.
Who was the first person? Who was the first person the show receiving in Babylon? Was that Jake Benjamin woman?
Which part of this poor one did the franchises and fast food restaurants?
Amongst Jake. Ghettos where Jews dwell. You see? Come on, the knowledge is there for you to grab. Right? Take hold of it, walk in the light and be what? Illuminated. Right? So with that we give all praises to Yahweh.
Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rakakodash.
Pray the lesson was edifying, if not important. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.